Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Christelle Martinette with another scrying session. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to call the scrying session, but I'll think of it by the time the end of the reading comes. It is the 6th of July and the end of the day here. It's we still have an hour and 15 minutes, so there's plenty of time to do a scrying session for the 6th of July and the 7th for those in the other hemisphere. But, there are moments, and what is an enigma to me is how people are drawn to other people. And, it goes even to people who are drawn to me as a reader, people who are drawn to someone else as a reader. This feeling of it's an energy pull, but it's also, there's fiducia, there's this trust element, and you have to think that there has to be some form of attraction, some form of pull. And in the last 3 or 4 days, I've had a number of different readings that dealt with, everyone says the common elements are sex, love, and work, livelihood, money. But what I have found and what I have learned in these last 3 or 4 days is that they are very closely intertwined. There's no difference. The way you earn your money is closely related to your sexuality and the way you give of yourself sexually and the way you receive. And it was really an enlightenment for me. It was an eye-opening experience. And this post-new moon, a very creative moon for me personally, but people seem to be coming up with not questions, because it seems that they know the answers. It's sort of a desire for interaction, because you just want to know that there is someone else there in the world that is sharing the same kind of experience. It's that feeling, that network of being all one. And it's very, very common. It's not, I don't want to say it's common, it's an experience that we have. I mean, you do feel in communion with someone else. You feel like, there were many times when I could go on and on for days about the difficult moments when, I was stuck in a Paris, some place outside of Paris where I had no money, and I had to get from point X to Y, and I didn't know what to do, short of begging, and it's those moments that really make you understand what you're made of, how much you can take. Who cares about traveling on that train? Just let me lie down here and take a rest, because you at one point are you believe that, why should we worry when, anyway, the world will turn just the same, with or without us? And this 4th, 5th of July, this new moon, did usher in a moment that was sort of crazy for a lot of people. I have to go on this vacation, I have to do this, I have to do that, and not heeding the moment. A lot of people just covered up their emotions, or covered up, what they would have liked to have said. And but on the positive side, indeed, many people have spoken out, and many people had their voices heard. And it's very, very interesting to see how, even when we're one next to the other, all in a row, like at on Broadway, kicking our legs up, we're all in a row doing the same thing, but we have all such individual experiences, so many different experiences. And, it seems that if I say, well, love is a universal experience, if I say that love is a universal experience, you may think, what is she on about tonight, Christelle Martinette? Did she drink too much? Did she smoke? I mean, but we come back to the same basic idea. I have never met anyone like this person. It must be love, because I think of them all the time. It is that same feeling. You try to rationalize. There's no rationalization. There's no logic behind a feeling. There's just no logic. And if you can accept that, you live much better, And you even live much, much better when you realize that you're not the only one in that boat, There are many different people that are still wondering, well, what happened what happened just there? What happened? And it's a joy that it happens, because life would be so boring without that, wouldn't it? But I still feel that I have to speak out for all of those who like me, feel that they're material girls, material boys. We are a material being, Come into my realm. Come on, interact with me. Come on, let me pinch you. Let me tickle those feet, And and you wonder, and you wonder, and you wonder, does everyone ever feel that free, such freedom to say, wow, that really tickled, or wow, I didn't understand a thing you said, or wow, 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 It's quite interesting, because unfortunately we're living in a society where there is a lot of conformity, and it goes against the grain with respect to who we are. So if you have distinguished yourself for your qualities, your intelligence, your wealth, your love, today we have around us a mass of people who have sort of, you hear talk about the gray area, there's everything else is gray. You seem to have some spark. You seem to have some light, And that's when your mind's eye focuses on something, it's for a reason. And so you feel that there's something there for you. You go there and you start making conjectures, you hypotheses and things like that. But, in truth, what it is an attraction, a like vibration. You go there and you start sniffing and you start asking, well, who are you? What are you doing? Oh, where have you been all my life? And even if it's only 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months, you stay and you learn, and that's it. We need to move on. And timing is such a very, very personal, subjective element, and I know that my subscribers get upset when they ask me, but when will they call me? When? And I have to say, well, we can check the cards. We can even trump the cards. We can treat the cards and say, okay, will they call by the end of September? Will they call by the end? But if the yes card comes out, then you can say, okay, yes. But in truth, it's not an answer that we could respond to with our material timing, because timing, there are so many timelines, there's so much time. There really is so much time. And the other day I was thinking of how wonderful it would be, because it is, when you go under the water, when you go scuba diving, when you hold your breath and you go underwater, the sound is completely blocked out. You have some thick sounds and faint sounds underwater, but they're different from, it's peace, you find peace underwater, and there's a certain element of fear for me there. I'm not a person who goes near dark water, I'm fearful of the dark water, but, in company, please take me with you, because I can be a blast. I tell jokes down there, and I think the invitation here is to go there where you may never have wanted to in the past. Go there, try it, risk. There's that element of risk. Let's take a risk. Let's take a risk. Go there, let's take a risk. What do you have to lose? What? Tell me, what do you have to lose? Do you have to lose an hour, a day, 2 days, 5 days, 5 pounds? Come on, what do you have to lose? Go. Now, you take time from your daily life and you go there and you look around and you don't seemingly find anything. And you say to yourself, well, was this a waste of time? But then you sort of try to make, the better part of you thinks, well, let me make the most of it. Let me make the most of it. Let me see if I talk to some people. Maybe I'll learn something. And you go along your merry way and experiencing your emotion. And it is the emotions that color your life. And it's the emotions that the soul is searching for. And a lot of those emotions call on loneliness. A lot of the emotions are felt and experienced alone. And this causes a lot of fear. I remember years ago when I was separating from my husband, I got on the phone, I went to the United States, took the kids, they were so small, and I called my dad. And my dad was saying, what? You're afraid of being alone? A woman like you are afraid of being alone? I was crying. And he was just giving me a pep talk, And I appreciated it, but, you still feel that you want to cry, you want to complain, you want to just complain, But if you really look, and you look at all the sides to the story, all the colors of the pictures, and all the elements, me with my children, my long red hair, bringing the children on the ponies, and I was looking back at the pictures the other day, and it was just such a great moment. It was a great moment. It was a moment of freedom, and I didn't even notice at the time, And as you experience things, as you walk along, and you do feel that sometimes you think, well, boy, I would really like to share this color with a friend. I would really like to share this. What about this? Oh God, I would really like to share that with a friend. Tell them how wonderful that green is, or then that it blue. Isn't that wonderful? I would really like to share that to a friend. And the friend's not there. And then you think, well, who's missing out? Me or the friend? And then you start shifting perspective. And you have to admit that every time you blow your nose, every time you take a breath, every time you do something that's different, your perspective shifts. And also time is very, very relative. And what seemingly appears to us as loneliness, because the theme here is loneliness, the post-new moon period, is really a blessing in disguise. And that's what I'll call my scrying session. Scry me to the moon, a blessing in disguise. A blessing. Scry me to a blessing in disguise. Scry me to a blessing in disguise. Because disguise is also called on masks. And once a person said to me, you really have to be very evolved to wear masks in bed for sex. And I didn't know what they were talking about. And then in time I tried to, I always thought about that. I used the Casanova Tarot and the masks, take it off, the carnival here, the carnival there, And I thought, what is it with the mask? What is it? Is it that we can be whatever we want behind the mask, therefore we are free, we're more free, we're freer? Or is it that we move into uncharted territory and we risk because we are free, we seem freer? And it's always been an enigma to me, this sense of freedom and the mask and what it is. And I'm not a very mask person. I'm not a good mask person. I have difficulty wearing a mask. And I really am my freest when I don't have any mask on, when I, take my clothes off and dance in the streets. That's really my style, And, but But you find that when you're really coming into your own and you're really true to yourself, what hurts the most is that you don't see people that you can communicate with because they're so different from you. And then you start wondering, well, do I have to conform? Well, am I going to be alone? Well, and that is the underlying notion for fear in today's life. And fear is a really bad, really vicious animal because it can ruin your very soul. It can ruin the core of your existence. Fear can really make you have life pass you by. And the other day I was reminded of the expression being in the now, being in the here and now, and the here and now has colors, it has frames, it has positions, it has platforms. And many people believe that if they are here in the here and now, and they take the time to acknowledge and to be conscious and to be aware that they are missing something, which is a complete opposite. It's sort of the opposite of the meaning of living in the here and now. And this goes to show you how relative time is, because the speed, there are also different speeds, and the timing for me has always been such an enigma, how things develop in time. And what I can safely say, if I know anything, it's that I doubt what time is. I have no clue as to what time is, I've been told a lot, well, you're a person with no time, you have no time, you have no age, but then that makes you feel so more removed and so far different from everyone else, and then you start fearing again, But what's interesting is that there are two ways that we measure ourselves. One is the distinction between ourselves and the crystal ball, how distinct we are. I am a flesh, the crystal is crystal. And one is how similar we are. The crystal is round, my skin is round, and then you start acknowledging the similarities. But there are as many similarities as there are differences. And for every similarity, there could be a happiness, and for every difference, there could be a sadness. And we are very, very, I don't want to say controlled, or we are conditioned, but we do feel the difference, and we do feel the similarity. There are tears and there is sadness, And so there is, what I'm getting here is the message that it's a very brief moment. Please live in the moment. Please accept it. Please be joyous. It's a moment, just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, namaste. Happy post-noon, scrying to the afternoon. Bye-bye.